wherever you may be joining us from. Please mute yourselves, which most of you have, and just to let you know, we're going to be recording this event so that everyone who couldn't make it could watch it, and you could watch it again as well. So first, I would like to acknowledge that in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that Athol College of Notre Dame is situated on the traditional lands referred to as Treaty 4 territory. These are the territories of the Cree, Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, and on the homeland of the Métis-Michif Nation. We respect and honor the treaties that were made on all territories. We acknowledge all nations, Indigenous and non-Indigenous, who live, work, and play on this land. Next, I would like to welcome some special guests we have this evening. First, Notre Dame President, Rob Palmerene. Hi, Rob. We have National Alumni Association President, Angie McGarry. Hi, Angie. From our Board of Regents, we have Mr. Ben Grabinski, our chairperson from Regina, Saskatchewan. There's a wave from Ben. And I believe we have Archie Ledgerwood, also from Regina. May not be on yet. And that, I believe.
Nope, Kevin Blanchett.
Kevin Blanchett, yes, he is there. Kevin Blanchett from Cochrane, Alberta. Hello, Kevin. So traditionally, this would be the event that kicks off our alumni weekend on campus. And in all sincerity, I really wish we could all be having dinner together and celebrating in the same room. But we're doing it virtual this time, and I'm glad that everyone could join us tonight for this. We're here for two amazing reasons. First is to acknowledge our grade 12s who are graduating and will become part of our alumni community. And the second is to honor some of our alumni who have done outstanding work for the college and for the greater community. Tonight we'll hear about 12 incredible people and how their leadership has made an impact in the world and for Notre Dame. But first, let's focus on our grade 12s. We have a great alumni association that has been around for decades. We have chapters across the country in different provinces and in the USA. And grade 12s, as you embark on your next adventure, we encourage you to stay connected with them all. Find a local Hound get together or watch a game if one of the teams are in your area. You know, attend alumni weekend in Wilcox or come to graduation. We encourage alumni to attend these important traditions. Give back when you can. This can be financially or simply by sharing your story with others about Notre Dame, how great your experience was, and so that others may want to enroll as well. And finally, we have a great new online platform called Hounds Connect, where alumni can stay in touch and network with each other, look for jobs, post jobs, promote your business, provide mentorship, or look for mentorship. The one thing that Hounds are known for, and I've heard this over and over, is that they're known for helping other Hounds. So if you have any questions about post-secondary schools or careers, or you need anything, any help, go to Hounds Connect and you might just find what you need. As I mentioned earlier, also we have an alumni association led by a wonderful group of people dedicated to promoting Notre Dame and encouraging other alumni to support the college as needed. And I'd like to introduce our president of that National Alumni Association, Angie McGarry, for some words and to address the grade 12s.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, President Palmerene, staff, alumni, board members, parents, and graduates. My name is Angie McGarry, and I am the president of the Alumni College of Notre Dame National Alumni Association. It is my great honor to welcome you to this modified virtual alumni induction celebration. I myself am an alumna and a former Wilcox resident. So a big shout out to my fellow town rats that are graduating this year. My family moved to Wilcox in 1969, and my parents worked with and were friends with Father Athol Murray, or Pear, as we all affectionately know him. My connections to Notre Dame run deep, as my parents worked at the school for over 40 years, and I and all of my siblings are proud graduates of Notre Dame. In addition to my personal connection to PAIR, I have also worked at Notre Dame in many capacities over the years, from the cleaning crew to the hound shop, to volunteering with the music program, to assistant house parenting. And now it is my privilege to be the first female National Alumni President. To say that Notre Dame is in my heart and my soul is almost an understatement, a sentiment that I'm sure you graduates can identify with. Though years may separate our experiences, the core values, the great lessons learned, the friendships, and the love bind us all together as hounds forever and always. You, the graduating class of 2021, have experienced a notable difference in your time at Notre Dame than we alumni that have come before you. I would be remiss if I did not mention the extra challenges of working through this pandemic. Our incomparable founder, Per, built the foundation of our alma mater on the development of the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. And this development requires lessons learned through adversity. You, along with and under the care and guidance of the extraordinary Notre Dame staff, have experienced an adversity in a unique way. You have overcome and adapted, finding new ways of learning, connecting, and building community. You are the ultimate embodiment of struggle and emerge, and we are so incredibly proud of you. And now, as you join the ranks of this large family of Notre Dame alumni, carry these lessons with you. Never, never stop learning. This is the cornerstone of life. We continue to learn and to teach every day of our lives. Communicate. Call on us. We are here for you to help and to guide and to support. And know that we, in turn, will call on you from time to time as well. Connect and build community. We are indelibly woven together in this great fabric of Notre Dame. We collectively must work to continue building our community, remain connected, and continuing to weave this fabric for future generations of hounds. Becoming an alumnus of such an amazing school as Notre Dame, with its storied history, is an honor you will hold dear in your hearts for the rest of your lives. Overcoming the extraordinary challenges of a pandemic makes it all the more precious. Our beloved father, Athol Murray, a long time ago, said, "The world today is looking for men and women who are not for sale." Well, look out, world. Because on June 12th, the Miracle College on the Prairies is entrusting to you another 44 graduates who are not for sale, who are steeped in integrity and in all of the important values of our founder, and who will use their God-given gifts to help make this world a better place for all. This is why, on behalf of all graduates who have walked these steps before you, it is with great pride that I welcome you into the ranks of the Athol Murray College of Notre Dame Alumni Association. Luctor et Emergo, gang, the journey continues.
Awesome. Thank you, Angie, for those incredible words. And now we want to show off these new alumni, these grade 12s. And I call on Kate McLean to introduce each one of them. And Aisling is going to run a presentation. There we go.
Anthony Agama Jr. So Aisling, we need to coordinate. Do you want me to go first or you? Jamal Ali Ibrahim. Kale Ambrosic. Kevin Anderson. Kayla Bailey. Cole Clark. Philip Fath. Rola Germacana. Courtney Gottslig. Maxwell Joy. Nolan Kay. Caitlin Kleisinger. Katya Kruger. Caden Laverdiere. Quinlan Laverdiere. Olivia Lear. Wyatt Lightfoot. Jackson Lucia. Bryn McLean. Alistair Marshall. Noel Marusin. Wilfred McLeod. Tia Miller. Madison Morris. Ty Neskash. Anne-Marie Niedermeyer. Dennis Nikolaev. Kennedy Nolan. Connor O'Brien. Philip Palmerene. Musa Peter. Angeline Pitter. Grace Poland. And happy birthday, Jana Prue. Carson Renson. Jenna Renwick. Chloe South. Matthias Stobie. Jared Sitch. Emma Thomas. Luke Van Wy. Jonathan Verity. Walker Watson. And Madeline Weisar.
Awesome. Thank you, Kate. Yes, a round of applause for those grade 12s. Now, grade 12s, at grad, you're going to receive an alumni crest, just like this, and a certificate from the college and the National Alumni Association as a symbol of being part of the alumni community. And I've already seen this crest worn at an airport, and people identify that alumni, and there was some story sharing going on about Notre Dame just from that. So, you know, wear it proudly and know that it's very special. Only graduates will receive those. You'll also be receiving from us an email invitation to join our Hounds Connect I talked about earlier, so that you can stay connected with your classmates and meet other alumni from across the world. So, for example, if you're in Dubai, you can locate Phil Ridley, and he'd love to meet up with you and share some stories and about Notre Dame as a student and a teacher. But again, congratulations to you all on becoming new alumni. So next we move on to the second part of our presentation, our Alumni Award. I'll call on Angie McGarry again for the awards presentations. And if I could have the award recipients remain on video, and everyone else, please turn your video off so we can see the recipients. And Angie, you can take it away.
Okay, great. Okay, so the first Medal of Honor or the first award we're going to award is the Medal of Honor, and it's awarded to members of the Notre Dame alumni, former members of the faculty or friends of Notre Dame, who have demonstrated excellence, leadership, and outstanding achievement in their profession or occupation or any endeavor of exceptional merit and enhance the well-being of Notre Dame and its students. And the first recipients are Lori and Rhonda Ryan. Rhonda Ryan began as an intern teacher at Notre Dame in 1987. The following year, she was hired by Barry McKenzie to teach core French. Not growing up in a hockey family, Rhonda was not familiar with Notre Dame. She will never forget the joy of her first week discovering what the school was all about and its traditions. In 1990, Rhonda and Lori married and decided to raise their family in Wilcox. Over the years, Rhonda taught French, English language arts, and Christian ethics, coached broomball, female rugby, and led various clubs, including drama, SRC, yearbook, multimedia, and a school newspaper. Lori was the teacher, administrator, and coach during his years at Notre Dame. As a coach, Lori was fortunate to coach teams to provincial and national recognition, including the Centennial Cup, Air Canada Cup, and National College Championship. He is a member of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League and the Saskatchewan Hockey Association Hall of Fame as a member of the 1988 Centennial Cup champions. As an administrator, Lori held numerous administrator positions, was a true builder of the game of hockey, to name a few: Junior A General Manager, Hockey Coordinator, Notre Dame College, a board member of various leagues, a founder of the South Saskatchewan Junior Hockey, now the Prairie Junior Hockey League, and consultant with the Saskatchewan Female Midget AAA Hockey League in its inaugural season. Rhonda retired in January of 2020, and after a short break has returned to teach again. Lori and Rhonda have 4 children, Mackenzie, Emily, Marshall, and Molly, and enjoy golfing and spending time at their cabin. In the future, they hope to travel and continue their adventures. Please join me in congratulating and thanking Lori and Rhonda as Medal of Honor recipients.
Angie, I don't think they're on this evening. They weren't able to make it, so we can move to the next one.
Okay, thank you. Our next recipients are Nora and Jerry Schaible. Nora arrived at Notre Dame in August of 1971 as a new bride. Since then, 50 years, Notre Dame has been a part of her life. Whether it was working around Jerry's football or hockey schedule, can you imagine working around a hockey schedule for 50 years? From having students or teams over for meals, to washing team jerseys, to having Notre Dame boys babysit, watching students participating in their activities, to being emergency healthcare van driver, among many other unwritten various roles that glue the experience together for Notre Dame students. Additionally, Nora has been a teacher. She's worked at the canteen, making the best milkshakes ever, the high school admin assistant from 1987 to 2008, and worked in the admissions and president's office. Jerry Shivel graduated from Notre Dame in 1963 and began working for the college shortly after. In those early years, Jerry did everything from teaching to coaching to running the dorms because the staff was so small back then. History was his main subject, and he taught grade 12 Canadian history for many, many years. Jerry was a dedicated coach and manager. He coached football early on, then was the trainer at all practices and games from the mid-1960s to up to 5 or 6 years ago. He also coached hockey for many years before transitioning into managing. Jerry enjoys being around the rink. He still goes to the rink whenever he can to stop in and check things out. After Jerry retired from teaching, he continued serving Notre Dame by working in the archives. Since officially retiring from that job in 2020, he continued sharing his archives knowledge in a recent CBC story about Notre Dame's rare book collection. Jerry is, and always has been, loyal to Notre Dame. Loyalty is a big thing with Jerry, as it was a very important thing to pair. A few of the highlights for Nora and Jerry were, of course, the people, working with a great staff, and watching students who came to the college struggling, unsure of who they were and where they fit in, and emerging as confident, strong individuals. Also, watching their children and their friends graduate, having pair marry them and baptize their two oldest children, and having their third child baptized by Father David Bauer, to attending pairs masses and listening to his sermons, and being amazed in awe of his vision of the Tower of God. Please join me in congratulating and thanking Nora and Jerry as Medal of Honor recipients. And I will ask Nora and Jerry if they would like to say anything.
I'd just like to thank the alumni for this award. And Notre Dame means a lot to a lot of people. And Notre Dame will always help you if you need it.
I would like to initially thank the alumni and congratulate all the winners this year, the award winners. And it's a great thing to have the alumni and show their loyalty to Notre Dame. And it's very important to continue the culture of Notre Dame, the character of Notre Dame, and the alumni have done that. Wherever you go, I can remember a couple of years ago, Nora and I were in Halifax and standing on a street corner. The gentleman saw my Notre Dame hat and he said he went to Notre Dame. And so wherever you go, you run into alumni. And when I started teaching in 1962, I had no intention to stay this long, but I got my shoelace tied to the bedpost, so to speak. And I've enjoyed it very, very much. And I want to thank all those involved with this award and thank Nora for putting up with me, I guess, all these years. And congratulations again to the alumni. Keep in contact, keep, the spirit alive, and look to the future for more progress, more development, and more accolades for Notre. Thank you very, very much, alumni, and God bless.
Thank you, Jerry and Nora. Okay, our next recipients are Bonnie and Bill Humphries. Bonnie came to Notre Dame in September of 1980 on the recommendation of a university friend, Mike Sitko. Bonnie was an assistant dean of women and a full-time teacher and volleyball coach. Bill arrived in 1989, over the years working in the dorms, teaching and coaching hockey, baseball, and football. A highlight of Bonnie's time was coaching volleyball and at one point winning 3 consecutive Western Canadian Independent Schools Volleyball Championships. Bill loved every minute of his time as a classroom teacher and the opportunity to coach all ages and levels of hockey offered at Notre Dame. He also noted his gratitude to be able to work with his amazing, fantastic wife throughout his entire career. Bonnie and Bill have 2 daughters, Kate and Jill, who both graduated from Notre Dame. Bonnie and Bill have retired to Campbell River, Vancouver Island, where they like to hike, camp, play tennis, volunteer, work part-time, and hopefully return to traveling in the near future. Please join me in thanking and congratulating Bill and Bonnie Humphries as Medal of Honor recipients. And I will ask Bill and Bonnie if they would like to say something. Bill, I'll just get you to unmute yourself because we can't hear you.
There we go.
There. That'll work now. Bonnie and I have a plaque on our bedroom dresser, one that was given to us years ago at Notre Dame, with Pear's famous quote that says, "To he who does what in him lies, God will not deny his grace." In this day and age, I guess we need to update the pronouns used in this great quote credited to Pear, but the meaning will never change. These words have meant a great deal to both of us in our adult lives. Hopefully, in some small way, we have lived up to these words. Living a life of humility, gratitude, loyalty, commitment, service, and spirituality will ensure that we have, and the graduates that I'm speaking to right now would also have a happy, fulfilling life. Thank you for considering us for this wonderful award.
We'd like to thank the alumni, and we'd like to congratulate the new grads as you are welcomed into this great group. I hope you have enjoyed your time at Notre Dame, as we certainly did. Notre Dame is never far from our hearts, and we run into alumni here and there, and it's always great to swap stories. I hope you have enjoyed your time at Notre Dame and go on to live terrific, fulfilled lives with the Notre Dame values close to your heart. Thank you again.
Oops. Thank you, Bill and Bonnie. Now I did the same thing, kept myself on mute. Okay, our next recipient of the Medal of Honor is Julie Rudrick. Julie is a graduate from the Notre Dame class of 1977. Julie returned to Notre Dame in 1994 with her two children, Steve and Adina. She was hired to teach the art program, but for 3 years also taught English, Christian ethics, and drama. It was at Notre Dame in her years as a student that her art skills were encouraged and guided by the art teacher of that time, Sister Clem, of the Order of Sisters of Charity of St. Louis. Julie is still in contact with Sister Clem, now 82 years old, and considers her an artistic and spiritual mentor. Julie played a big role in the May long weekend art shows at the college, formerly known as Alla Padrita, showcasing the impressive skills of students in her fine art classes. Julie also supported various clubs such as SRC, golf, drama, and Inspire Nights in the girls' dorm. Julie retired and moved to Regina in 2019. She is enjoying the opportunity she has to spend time with her 3 grandchildren. She keeps busy enjoying her pets, continues painting, gardens, hikes with friends, and volunteers as a church decorator in her neighborhood. Please join me in thanking and congratulating Julie as a Medal of Honor recipient. And Julie couldn't join us today, but she did send in a response, which I will read to you. Thank you for this recognition. I so enjoyed my time working with students, and I am still in touch with many colleagues and friends from my time at Notre Dame. Notre Dame was a daring adventure for me, providing some fond memories, great friendships, and a chance to use my skills in a meaningful way, which I am very grateful for. Most of my growth and fulfillment came in sharing my faith and love of art and skills in the classroom with the students while watching their creativity blossom. These are where my fondest memories lie. Ask me about the clay fight sometime. There were so many fun times and highlights over 25 years. What makes Notre Dame special is not so much the events as the hardworking and dedicated people there. Both the teaching and staff and support staff and the villagers who are often characters themselves and involved in campus events. I really was intrigued with the range of students from all over the world. Be the best you can be, but not just for yourself. It is always the community that matters. Okay, our next recipients are Wayne and Michelle Morrison. Wayne's connection to Notre Dame began after he responded to an ad in the Globe and Mail. Wayne had been in contact with Barry McKenzie for a couple of years and was intrigued by the Notre Dame Canadiens' performance and Notre Dame hockey teams he had witnessed competing on the road. He was eager to teach at Notre Dame, and finally, after several interviews, he began teaching in 1982. Over the years, Wayne taught English and history and coached hockey, baseball, football, and basketball. Wayne and Michelle worked in the dorms as house parents and as a residential dean. Wayne was the athletic director and guidance counselor in the later part of his career. Wayne also led the coordination of Notre Dame basketball for over 30 years and was instrumental in recruiting and growing the female basketball program. Every Monday morning, Wayne could be heard for much of his career guiding the assembly, making sure the students and staff were up to date on the college's sports and activities, and keeping a few enjoyable Notre Dame traditions alive and well for the students. Wayne's highlights include coaching with Terry O'Malley and winning silver at the Air Canada Cup in 1984, coaching baseball with Frank Germain and winning several championships, coaching football with Darren Olson, Rob Palmerene, Randy Lewis, Rob Matity, and Doug Branchflower, among many others, including his own son, Mitch. Wayne and Michelle are grateful to have had their children, Chantel, Walker, and Mitch, all attend Notre Dame and excel in sports and playing at the CIS level after graduation. Having the love and support from Michelle throughout his career is beyond description for Wayne. Wayne and Michelle are now retired in Regina and are enjoying their children and grandchildren. They keep in touch with Mitch in Thailand and James and family in Windsor. Please join me in thanking and congratulating Wayne and Michelle as Medal of Honor recipients. And now I'll ask Wayne and Michelle if they would like to say a few words.
Oh. Hello, everybody. I want to thank the alumni for this award. And I really appreciate seeing some of my old colleagues up there, and President Rob and Kate, and also some of the folks that really had a great influence on me when I first got to Notre Dame, like Jerry and Phil Charge, I see on there, and Bonnie. And I had a great career, and I the early days before I got married, it was those were crazy times. We were young, and Rids, you saw Rids was on that Notre Dame Alumni Day, and Eric Lockwood, and Bonnie was part of our little gang there that we had in those early days. We had lots of fun. And then we're working in the dorms, doing all kinds of things, not having a lot of free time, but when we did have a little bit of time, we made a heck of a good time of it, I'll tell you that. And I want to, and then of course I did have to grow up when I married Michelle. And I'll remember the very first place, and a lot of people would have some stories like this. But anyway, Barry McKenzie says, "Oh, we got this trailer that you can live in," when we got married. So I brought Michelle out, showed it to her. I thought it was great. And she says, "I'm not living in a trailer." So luckily for me, I kind of had an in with Martin a little bit, because when I coached with O'Malley, my job was to keep Martin away from O'Malley. So I would always intercept Martin. Martin Kenny was a great, great president. And anyway, so I talked to Martin, and Barry got mad at me for that, but Martin said, "Don't worry, we'll get you a better place than that." So we ended up with a better place than that. And before, that was only lasted 1 year. And then we were back in the dorm, house parents, and that was a lot of fun. And with the Lockwoods were next door, and the Humphries, and we're still lifelong friends with those people. Talking about Jerry, you know, I can't believe Jerry's just getting this award now after all these years. But Jerry, you know, he with the football and the things he did, and even he was the principal when we first got there, or director of academics or something like that. Anyway, when you started working at Notre Dame, Jerry got you on the right track. I'll tell you that. And as far as looking after your class and things like that, even discipline and all, because unlike you lovely grade 12s that we have today, we had some wingnuts back in those days. And it was and especially when you're a young teacher, you needed that. And you needed that discipline. And Jerry and Almer were great influences with me on that as well. And the superstar staff that we had back in those days, the Olympians with Mackenzie and O'Malley, who I mentioned, I coached with him, and Frank Germain. It was a great honor to have been exposed to him. But then, you know, I'm looking at Nora and you know, Bill Shervin, who's a spouse of a member who's got an important role. And, you know, Michelle, although she didn't have an official job at Notre Dame, you know, we were house parents. We had kids running around in our house all the time. After we quit being house parents, you know, we billeted junior A's and all these kinds of things. So she was, you know, as much a part of the school as anybody. And of course, having our kids all go there, you know, and I can remember even Danny Patno, great guy. I remember he was doing bed check, carrying Walker. Walker was just born, carrying him, you know, all throughout the dorm. Luckily, we didn't have any COVID stuff flying around the air in those days. There was all kinds of stuff going around. It was there was too much in there to actually infect anybody, or we were all infected all the time. It didn't matter. We just carried on. And you know, the basketball camp, I mentioned that, how it took over a lot of our summers. But I really want to talk to these grade 12s, and I'm glad I'm getting this award with a year with grade 12s that I actually still was working at Notre Dame, teaching there when they were there. You know, and I had a couple of those girls were in my basketball class. This year in December, I was out subbing, and I covered some of those classes. And you know, this is a great group, these grade 12s, this particular year. As great as any year we've had, I would say. You know, 44, not a big number, but great kids. And as Angie, I want to congratulate her actually for being alumni president. And oh yeah, Blanchett too. He was a student my first year here, by the way. But anyway, great group. And these 44, the world has got to be ready for these 44 grads that are going to bring their Notre Dame values with them up there. And they're going to have a huge impact. So I really appreciate it. And Michelle and I want to thank the alumni once again. And it's great to see all you people on here with this wonderful technology.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Wayne and Michelle. Our next recipient is Phil Charge. Phil's Notre Dame story begins 2 years before he emigrated to Canada. In 1974, Phil came to Canada to visit Terry McGarry and his family. At this time, he met Per Murray and spent quite a bit of time with both Per and talking about Canada and Notre Dame. Per and Terry were relentless in persuading Phil to emigrate to Canada. Canada needs young men like you, Per kept repeating, and Terry McGarry echoed this. On his return to England, Phil thought, why not? It would be an adventure. And so began his Canadian life in March of 1976. Phil is a gilded bricklayer by trade and worked in Regina for almost 2 years. In December of 1977, Terry asked Phil to do some repair work on the dormitory walls, which he gladly did free of charge. Afterwards, Phil was asked if he would consider working for the college. Phil was looking for a change from his work in Regina, so he agreed. He noted that he would be okay be moving on to BC or Ontario soon. He took a $4 an hour pay cut and came to work for Notre Dame at $6 an hour. 43 years later, he was still at the college. Phil worked as a maintenance foreman for 15 years, then took over Terry McGarry's job as facilities manager for the next 25 years. Phil joined Notre Dame in December of 1977 and retired 40 years later. He spent some additional time with the college supporting Doug Markham in his transition to his position. Phil especially enjoyed his time working with students in their sports, projects, and involvement in the maintenance program. Phil was instrumental in introducing and growing both the soccer and rugby programs at Notre Dame. He is also proud of his efforts to reclaim the original Notre Dame coat of arms that Per had adopted initially. Phil now enjoys living in Weyburn, Saskatchewan, close to his children, Edwina, Amber, Victoria, and Christian, and his grandchildren. Please join me in thanking and congratulating Phil as a Medal of Honor recipient. And now I'll ask Phil if you'd like to have a few words you'd like to say.
Thank you, Angie. I'll try and be brief. As you know, that could be tough, but you certainly pretty much said all that I would have said to everyone there. I want to thank the alumni and everybody involved in giving me this honor. The one of the things I never expected to receive. My first surprise was coming to Canada. It wasn't in my plan as a young man, 23 years old, sitting with Per and Terry, listening to their tales and stories of Notre Dame. And then the second surprise, of course, was receiving this award. I was shocked, really shocked that I thought I'd been forgotten. I thought, now you've left Notre Dame, you've left Wilcox, and you're living in Weyburn, starting a new chapter in my life, retirement life. I really felt, okay, well, it's over. The only thing I've got to look forward to is sitting on a stool in the Royal Hotel and having a beer. And then I get this, good news from Caitlin that I'd received this award. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And it is indeed an honor. I spent many years working with Terry McGarry, undoubtedly my mentor. Terry changed me from the person I was when I came to Canada into eventually the person I am today. And I thank Terry and Phil and you, Ange, and your siblings there. Incidentally, everybody out there, I used to help babysit Angela McGarry back in England. She was a little brat then, and I don't think you've changed much, Ange, but I enjoyed every minute of it. I just want to say that I so appreciate this honor. I appreciate what Terry and Phil and family have done for me and to help me change into the person I am. Since I've left Notre Dame, I'm able to grow my hair again from when I was 23 years old, and I'm getting some of my accent back. I suppose you can hear it, right? I'm getting involved in Weyburn and enjoying my retirement. So again, thank you all for this honor, and I look forward to seeing you all again sometime in the near future. Thank you.
That was awesome, Phil. Thank you. Okay, the next awards that we're going to present are the Frank Germain Volunteer of the Year Award. And this award is given to a hound that is committed to volunteering for the betterment of the college. I'm now going to hand it over to Dave as he has a special presentation regarding this award from one of the recipients.
Thanks, Angie. Yeah, I had the honor of contacting one of the recipients of this year's Frank Germain Volunteer of the Year Award, Alice Stefan Henderson. She was so honored to be receiving this award and because Frank Germain was a friend of hers, she wanted to pay tribute to him. And I'd like to read what she wrote as some context, which to put behind, that one-line description that we have for this award. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read about Frank Germain. Frank was raised down the road in Rollo, one of Father Murray's parishes. When he graduated from elementary school, he was encouraged to attend Notre Dame. Frank said, "I was going to confession when Père stopped me and said, 'Frank, why don't you come to Notre Dame?' I was startled, but agreed to go there for my high school." That was in 1936, and he spent his whole life at the college teaching and coaching sports. In April 1947, Frank married Marge, and they raised 10 children. During the years, he obtained a few degrees, which enhanced his career. He was a good singer, always entertaining at sing-songs and special events. I think of him whenever I hear the Ave Maria. His classes were interesting, as well as some of the distractions. He sometimes brought in records of light operas like HMS Pinafore or Pirates of Penzance, trying to instill in us a taste for quality music. With some students, he didn't succeed. With others, including me, he did. In the fall, he brought in a radio so we could listen to the World Series. Frank was not only my teacher, but a lifelong friend. He was director of the National Alumni Association when he asked me to serve as secretary in the early 1980s. At my first meeting, he learned of my desire to write a tribute to the Sisters of Charity of St. Louis and the female students. He asked me if I could have it ready for the Notre Dame reunion, which was being planned for 1987. I picked up the challenge and the deadline. Copies of Notre Dame of the Prairies were available at the event. While researching for the book, Frank loaned me copies of the Newshound, a college publication which began in 1940. I photocopied them and found the information invaluable, especially for the section of important dates and events. He shared his knowledge from the decades and was generous with encouragement and confidence in my undertaking. Often when I was writing, I didn't know where my thoughts were coming from, that maybe Père was holding my hand. Frank was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, which is based in Battleford, and was on the board of directors. He and Marge attended the induction ceremonies every August for many years, sometimes staying with us at our cabin on Jackfish Lake. Where else in the world do your teachers become your best friends? Here I must include Sister Marjorie Metz, or Sister Mary Louise, Sister Lou, who, like Frank, helped me with my book, read everything I wrote for accuracy, and assured me it was a commendable endeavor. And yes, she was also one of my best friends. After he retired, he and Marge still helped around the campus. Frank took up wood carving and painting as a hobby and worked with the alumni. Many of his artworks are on display around the campus. There's no doubt Frank had a great deal of love and respect for Père. In his tribute to him in Notre Dame of the Prairies, he related, "He could show you the mind of a Greek scholar, the vocabulary of a dock worker, and the soul of a saint. Well versed in sports, good looking and quick to size you up, he was always available to scold, lecture, or comfort you. He put much of his faith in the words of St. Augustine, 'To him who does what in him lies, God will not deny his grace.' The motto he introduced for Notre Dame, Luctor et Emergo, struggle and emerge, was always a factor, and without adversity, he felt that little could be gained. Père stretched our minds and imaginations. You tried harder when he said, "Every human life is insignificant unless you yourself make it great." When he said, "God, I love you, kids," you realized he was a great man. He urged us to dream a dream, make it a great dream, and dream it greatly. It is obvious Frank was influenced by Pear's teaching because he too became a great man. Thank you, Alice, Stefan, Henderson, for that wonderful tribute.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
And so Alice Stefan Henderson is our first recipient of the Frank Germain Award. And Alice Stefan Henderson was born in Lake Alma, raised in Minton, Saskatchewan, and received her primary education in a rural school. Alice found out about Notre Dame from a couple of girls from Lake Alma who attended Notre Dame. As a result, Alice, her two sisters, Betty and Diane, and her brother Richard all went to Notre Dame. It was at Notre Dame College where she pursued a hobby of photography and acquired some darkroom experience from Father Peter Dowse, who had a darkroom set up in Lane Hall. Father Peter also directed the Notre Dame choir, which led Alice to singing all her life. She graduated Notre Dame in 1951 and married Bill Henderson of Moose Jaw in September of 1952. Following that, Alice worked at the Moose Jaw Times-Herald as a darkroom technician and writer. 2 years later, in April 1954, they moved to North Battleford, Saskatchewan, where they raised 2 daughters and 3 sons. She resumed her career in 1965 at Macintosh Publishing Company for 24 years as columnist, reporter, and photographer. She continues to reside at her condo in North Battleford, spending her summers at the cabin at Jackfish Lake and at her trailer in Florida during the winter months. Alice's experience in photography and publishing inspired her to publish 3 history books: Homesteading in Surprise Valley in 1971, Taming the Prairie, the Steffen Gergen Story in 1985, Notre Dame of the Prairies in 1987, one biography, A Day to Remember in 2020, and 3 children's books, Tiffany's Lost Brother in 1984, Farm Animals in 2015, Cowboys in 2017. She also wrote dozens of short stories and 4 poems. One of them was put to music. She is currently writing her own memories with 2 chapters on Notre Dame. In 2011, Alice turned over the copyright of her book, Notre Dame of the Prairies, to the college. Through her book, she has likely contributed more to preserving and documenting the rich history of women and the Sister of Charity of St. Louis in Wilcox than any other alumnus in the past 100 years. An ambassador for Notre Dame for 70 years since graduating in 1951, faithfully attending many alumni weekends and events, including being a guest speaker at the 2011 Notre Dame graduation. She is very proud of her 7 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. Alice exemplifies what it means to be a Notre Dame man/woman in everything she does. Please join me in thanking and congratulating Alice Stefan Henderson as a recipient of the Frank Germain Volunteer of the Year Award. Alice gave her acceptance speech to Caitlin Shervin, so I'll turn it over to Caitlin, and Caitlin will relay it to you.
Sure. So no words can describe how deeply honored I feel at being chosen to receive the Frank Germain Award. No award has as much significance as the one in memory of my teacher, fellow hound, and lifelong friend. From the first minute I arrived at Notre Dame in September of 1947, I have been in awe of this tiny college on the flat, windswept prairie. When I graduated with the high school diploma 60 years ago, In 1951, it was bittersweet. Happy to finish my education, but sad to leave my second home. I really never left. My heart has always been here, as Notre Dame progressed from simple surroundings to proud, steadfast buildings over the decades. Countless college reunions have brought many of us back to rub shoulders with fellow Hounds and become rejuvenated with that intangible Notre Dame spirit. To share one bit of advice with the 2021 graduating class, when you leave at the end of this term, keep the door open. Come back every chance you get. Notre Dame needs you, and you need Notre Dame. When my earthly life has dimmed, I'll be back here to join my husband and the great Notre Dame Hounds who have gone before me. To borrow a few lines of a poem Pere wrote and dedicated to the Hounds in the War, which appeared in the April 1942 issue of the News Hound. Notre Dame made me. Notre Dame fed me. Whatever I had, she gave me again. And the best of Notre Dame loved and fed me. God be with you, Notre Dame men and women. Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin. Our next award, our next and final award, that is a Frank Germain Award, is awarded to Barry Trotz. As a 15-year-old, Barry was going to play midget AAA hockey in Winnipeg when a Notre Dame alumni, who he played bantam hockey with, came home for the weekend and said, "Why don't you come to Wilcox?" Martin Kenny gave Barry a call the following week and sold Barry on Notre Dame. Barry treasures the experience Notre Dame provided him, an experience he believes builds character, trust, and relationships. Barry attributes much of his success to the character, motivation, and determination he left Notre Dame with. An example of some of Barry's successes include recipient of the Jack Adams Award as the NHL's Coach of the Year in 2016 and again in 2019. Stanley Cup champion with the Washington Capitals in 2018. Moved into third place on the NHL all-time coach wins list in 2021. He was an active volunteer in his community, working closely with several nonprofit organizations. Barry values the people and that special bond you create when you're a Hound that just does not go away. It is there for life. He stays in touch with many people to this day who he dormed with, went to school with, played hockey with, and he also tracks down Hounds in the NHL whenever he can. Barry has stayed in touch and giving back to Notre Dame throughout the years. Some examples of Barry's involvement as Notre Dame ambassador include hosting multiple alumni events in the Kelowna area, including the 100-year celebration in 2019. This was the largest alumni gathering we have had outside of Wilcox in many years. He was most accomplished and admired the ambassador at the NHL coaching level for Notre Dame, including national media coverage, guest appearances, and events. Availability to meet with and mentor current students and alumni one-on-one in group settings on numerous occasions, no matter how busy he might be. He supports past and present Notre Dame fundraising campaigns, such as the Realize the Dream campaign, and is currently co-chair of the Centennial campaign. Barry truly exemplifies what it means to be a Notre Dame man in everything he does. Barry resides in Garden City, New York, with his wife and 4 children. He is coaching in the NHL playoffs tonight. Go Islanders, go. Please join me in thanking and congratulating Barry Trotz as the recipient of the Frank Germain Volunteer of the Year Award. And Barry, obviously, he's coaching tonight and playing coaching the playoffs, so he won't be here. But I do believe he has sent a recording of his acceptance speech.
Well, it's an honor to accept this award. Thank you to the Notre Dame alumni for your contributions, your continued contributions, your involvement over the years. That says a lot about being a Hound, is staying involved. It's an opportunity to me as an alumni to pass on the Notre Dame experience. And anybody who's gone to Notre Dame knows what I'm talking about. It's an experience that you can't have anywhere else. It's an opportunity to continue with Pear's legacy of developing the whole person, finding ways to develop responsible leaders in today's communities, become community leaders, and especially hopefully world leaders, because our world needs more Hounds, and that is part of being the legacy of Pear. He's the one that was able to find the greatness in people, and it's our responsibility really to continue that, finding the greatness in Notre Dame Hounds. And so I want to just shout out to all the graduates. I know this is I can't imagine having to graduate in a pandemic year. I just want to say that you will always end up being a graduate, and it is a responsibility to be a alumni of Notre Dame, and you will have many graduations when you return to Notre Dame, El Padrita, the long weekends, all that. It is a special place, and we all know it. So again, I'm very honored to accept this award from the alumni, and I will always be a Hound. I'm pretty sure they're going to have to bury me in red and white.
Wow, that was awesome from Barry. Okay, that brings to a close our Alumni Awards, and again, I want to really thank all the recipients. They were all very well deserved. It was so great to see you all here. Good luck to the grade 12 grads. It was nice to meet you, even though it was over virtual. Hope to meet you someday in person. I think Dave's got a few closing words, and then we're going to end the program with a beautiful poem that my dad wrote, and he will be narrating it. Normally for grade 12 grads, this would be played at your graduation. However, due to having to have it outdoors, that wasn't going to be possible. So we're going to play it to close here so that you still get that opportunity, because even though Terry's my dad, his poem will stick with you for many years to come. So go ahead, Dave.
Wow, well, I was just gonna ask you to explain the poem, but you went ahead and did that, Ange. Yeah, we're gonna wrap up this event. Wow, what a special event. I'm just in awe of all these amazing people that we honored tonight. It's incredible, this place, Notre Dame, and congratulations to everyone and to the grade 12s on becoming alumni too. Thank you all for taking the time to join us tonight, and for telling us your amazing stories, and yeah, thank you again. Congratulations.
The beautiful summer days are once again with us. All around us, the wonders of nature are unfolding in a dazzling display of color, softly and gently reminding us of the awesome power and love of God. Amid this miracle of growth and beauty, however, I am very sad, because soon all my children will leave me, some never to return. And as is my fate each year at this time, a part of me will die. I will remain in this state until the fall, when new blood from all across the nation will course through my veins, and I will be born again. I will feel vibrant and alive, ready to teach, to love, to scold, to laugh, to cry. Ready once again, through them and with them, to live every vital second of every minute, of every hour, of every day. But what of you, my sons and daughters now graduating? What will you be doing? Where will you be? Will you remember those values I've tried to teach you? Will you, like true hounds, put heart into everything you do? Will you retain that motto so necessary for survival, struggle, and emerge? Will you keep in touch with me and this large family of which you are now a part? Will you bear my colors proudly when my enemies attack, or will you hang your head and pretend you don't know me? Will you remember me in my endless struggle to awaken in youth an awareness of the true values in life? I want to be able to swell my chest with pride at your achievements and to try to console you and pray for you in the dark days that all must sometimes face. Oh, I believe you will remember me. And so sometime, someplace, somewhere in the future, when you have momentarily withdrawn into a world of memories and you are asked the question, what's on your mind today? I fancy I can see you with a trace of mist in your eye and a slight lump in your throat as you answer. The First Lady of the Prairies, my alma mater, Notre Dame.
That poem always gives me chills, let me tell you. They don't go away when you listen to that poem. But again, I really want to thank everybody for coming. I really want to thank Caitlin Shervin. She did an incredible amount of work to help us get ready for this. Ashling for helping out, Dave Harasny. It was a great team effort, and I think it went pretty well. So thank you. Good luck to the graduates. I hope you have lots of sunshine on your day in June 12th. Lots of sunshine and very little wind is my hope for you. And I hope it goes really well for you. And again, congratulations on your graduation, and keep in touch. Keep in touch. Join the Hounds Connect and keep in touch with us. Take care, everyone.